Hey everybody, we are live. This is the NoDQ.com live recap of the 2021 WWE Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, and we had quite the shocking ending to this pay-per-view. Shout out to everybody in the chat room watching this live. Thank you for everybody watching this on demand as well. If you're watching on a different outlet such as Facebook or Periscope, make sure you head over to youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ, subscribe to the NoDQ YouTube channel, and turn on the notifications for updates. With that being said, let's get right into the pay-per-view. And I do ask for anybody sending super chats. I do appreciate it, but please try to stick to the topic if possible, so I'm not going all over the place. We are going to start with the kickoff for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And real quick, Tom McCarthy sent in a $2 super chat, says, 7 of the last 9 pay-per-views have been under 3 hours. That is true. This was yet another short pay-per-view, clocking in at just about 2.5 hours, not including the kickoff. Shorter than a 3-hour Raw. That is crazy to me that these pay-per-views are so short, but I'm not complaining personally. I'm fine with the pay-per-views being shorter and cutting out the filler and just getting straight to the point. Tim sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Tim. He says, I will never predict a failed cash-in again. We will talk about the Money in the Bank, the cash-in that happened at the end of the show, but right now we need to talk about the whole... not Nia Jax. We're going to talk about the whole kickoff show, which had a match announced last minute. Basically, what happened was we had Keith Lee announced about 2 hours before the show that due to injury, he was going to be pulled from the United States Championship match. And WWE announced a fatal 4-way match to determine who would take Lee's spot in the U.S. title match. TJS sent in a $1 super sticker. Unfortunately, the sticker does not go through on StreamYard, but thank you for the super chat, TJS. The 4-way match, we had John Morrison versus Ali versus Ricochet versus Elias. You had members of Retribution on the outside of the ring with Ali. Now, keep in mind, in any 3- or 4-way match in WWE, it's no DQ rules. Why, I have no idea. You could just DQ somebody and eliminate them from the match if they break the rules. But in WWE, 3 or more people, it's no DQ. I thought the match was really good. These guys all work well together. I enjoyed the wrestling aspect of it, but I still do not understand why the heels Retribution would just stand out there, and they interfered. So, they're going to get involved anyways. Why not just from the moment the bell rings, get in the ring and beat the crap out of the baby faces? Why did they just stand out there and maybe pull somebody out, pull Ali out when he's in trouble, break up a pinfall here and there? Like, why not just get in the ring and raise hell and help Ali win an easy victory? I do not understand that. It's so ridiculous, in my opinion. And also, why does Adam Pearce come out later in the show to kick out Owens, but he never comes out to kick out Retribution? Just doesn't make any sense to me. Father Adrian with a €5 super chat, thank you for that, says, I'm delighted the pay-per-view ended early as I can now make love to my wife. Well, good for you, Father Adrian. You could do that while you're watching this live stream. There you go. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So anyways, like I said, Retribution interfered in the match as we pretty much figured they would. However, when they were busy sending Ricochet into the steel post on the outside, Morrison rolled up Ali and scored the victory. So Retribution, they look like complete fools here, complete idiots. They're able to totally dictate this match and make sure that Ali wins, yet they're too stupid to realize while they're taking care of Ricochet, Ali, their leader, is getting rolled up by Morrison. They might as well just end this Retribution group, put it to pasture once and for all. But I've been saying this for the longest time now, and for some reason, it just keeps on going. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps going and going and going, and we cannot get rid of this awful faction and this just ridiculous storyline with Retribution. These guys went from trying to destroy the company. They get hired after vandalizing property, and now they're just losing matches. And like, what's the point? They stand out there, this group that's supposed to be rebels, they're just standing there and interfering when they think the referee's not looking or when they absolutely have to. Like, since when do they care about the rules or care about Ali trying to win the match fair and square until it's absolutely necessary to help him? I just do not get it. So that was the kickoff. Morrison won the match, and pretty much we all knew Morrison was not winning the United States Championship. So we got to the main card. Our opening match was the first of the two chamber matches, the Smackdown chamber match. Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Daniel Bryan, with the winner going on to face Roman Reigns immediately after in a championship match. Sami Zayn came out with his camera crew, and the referee had the camera crew removed. Let me ask you guys something. When was the last time the camera crew interfered in the match? Retribution, they're interfering and nothing happens. Like, and this is before the camera crew even did anything. The referee just said, you guys have to go. Why not say that to the Retribution members? Oh, wait, it's no DQ. But isn't Elimination Chamber no DQ? It hurts my brain. Like, none of these rules to me make any sense whatsoever. But again, the last match, the kickoff match, was really good. And this was an awesome wrestling match. A great Elimination Chamber match, in my opinion. I thought it was very well done. Psycho Jet Black says, I forgot his super chat. And I apologize for that. The comments are going so fast here. Psycho Jet Black, with a very important super chat here that cannot be missed, says, glad the U.S. title spot wasn't wasted by Ricochet. Ouch. Although I think Ricochet would have had a pretty good showing in that match. Definitely would have lost, but would have had a nice payday on the pay-per-view. You're making fun of Ricochet here when the man could have been in a marquee match and had a good showing. Morrison's always doing stuff. He's with The Miz, and Morrison's going to be even more in the spotlight now as we talk about The Miz at the end of the video. So anyways, Bryan and Cesaro started off the match. Bryan was favoring his knee in the early minutes. Corbin came out next, worked over both of them. One thing I wanted to note about this match, the intervals were off. It's supposed to be 5 minutes after each person enters until the next one comes out. And I think at one point it was something like 8 minutes before the next person came out. I felt like once Sami Zayn came in, it was the same 4 people for like 8 minutes. Zayn, he tried to keep himself in the pod. He didn't want to get into the mix, but eventually Cesaro got him out of there. Zayn tried to climb to the top of the pod. Cesaro climbed up after him, and then Zayn was attempting to climb across the cage. However, Cesaro knocked him down. Back in the ring, Cesaro did the big swing to Corbin, put the sharpshooter on, and Corbin tapped out. Corbin was the first person eliminated from the match, but I guess he had a decent enough showing. He did have several minutes where he dominated the other competitors. Maybe that's why we needed 8 minutes before the next person, so Corbin could look strong and defeat and beat up guys for a while. We had Kevin Owens as the next entrant, and Zayn tried to form a pact with his old friend. However, Owens was having none of it. He beat the crap out of Zayn, and then finally, Jey Uso was the last entrant. Owens went right after him. Of course, they have the bad blood from the storyline with Reigns. We had Owens doing a moonsault off the pod onto the other four. Then Owens was on fire. He hit several stunners. He then pinned Zayn with a stunner. Odds-on favorite Sami Zayn. Hey, at least he wasn't the first one eliminated. We had Zayn being taken out of the cage, and that's when Uso closed the door on Owens' arm. I actually really liked this. I thought that this was well done. And then Uso hit a frog splash and pinned KO. I guess this feud with Jey and Owens continues. Maybe Jimmy returns someday and we can have the Usos versus KO and maybe Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania in a tag team match, because it doesn't look like we're going to have the Usos versus Street Profits unless Street Profits win the titles back at Fastlane, which is on March 21st, by the way, on both Peacock and the WWE Network. I guess Peacock, if you're in the US, you watch it there. And if you're international, you watch it on the WWE Network. We had the match continue after that with Cesaro building up some momentum. He swung Uso into the cage several times, and then it was down to Bryan and Cesaro going at it for a while. Cesaro did the big swing while grabbing Bryan's knee. That was pretty cool, but Uso came in with a super kick, pinned Cesaro. Uso then went for a frog splash on Bryan, but Bryan kicked out of it. Uso went for another frog splash, this time off the top of the pod, but Bryan got his knees up, and then Bryan hit the running knee and scored the 1-2-3 victory, winning the Elimination Chamber match, which went about 34 minutes. Like I said, really strong chamber match for these guys. The wrestling was great. I enjoyed it very much. And afterwards, we had Roman Reigns come out for the Universal Championship match. The referee asked Bryan if he was ready. Bryan said yes. Reigns went for the spear. Bryan countered the spear, really nicely done, into the yes lock, but Roman Reigns, of course, very fresh. He broke out of it, and then Reigns just punched Bryan repeatedly, and then he hit the spear, or not the spear, he hit the guillotine, put the guillotine submission on, and Bryan passed out, making Roman Reigns still your Universal Champion. Exactly what you would expect here. A lot of people I've seen on social media saying that this was all a waste of time. I knew going in this is what was going to happen. We were going to see Reigns win the title. You know, it's all done to further establish Reigns as a heel, that he had to take the coward's way out by waiting until after the chamber to defend his championship. And Psycho Jet Black, I believe the WWE Network accounts are becoming Peacock accounts and should be happening within the next month or so, because you got Fastlane on Peacock March 21st. I enjoyed the chamber match, but ultimately I think it would have been best if we just had one chamber match and had Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns in a singles match for the title, or did some kind of multi-man match before the pay-per-view on SmackDown and then had Reigns beat Bryan. I would have preferred that over what WWE did here, because, yeah, it basically just made the whole thing filler, even though the chamber match was awesome. I thought it was a great match. But this guy Experience with a $2 super chat says, still mad that Cesaro did not win so you could see a new match. Yeah, I mean, I picked Cesaro to win, and I could have seen him come out of that match on top, but WWE went with Bryan instead. Maybe Cesaro gets a match at Fastlane just to tease the idea that Edge will face somebody else, but don't think that's going to happen, because after the match was over, we had Edge show up to get payback on Reigns from SmackDown, speared him, pointed at the WrestleMania sign, which is funny because Edge did not even wait. I thought Edge was going to wait until the Raw Chamber match was finished before making his decision. I guess he already made it. He pointed to the WrestleMania sign, and WWE confirmed it. It's Roman Reigns versus Edge for the Universal title at WrestleMania. And yeah, they could do Cesaro versus Reigns at the next pay-per-view, but is anybody really going to think that Reigns will drop the title? That's the problem right now. People just are not going to buy into that. It was still well done, though, and Edge versus Reigns, I'm definitely all for it. I'm just curious to see what WWE comes up with, since they have one more pay-per-view until WrestleMania, and if they're even going to attempt to have Reigns defend the title one more time. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Moving on here, we had the United States Championship match. Riddle defending his title, or not Riddle, Bobby Lashley defending his title against Riddle and John Morrison. And before the match, we had a verbal confrontation between Bad Bunny and The Miz, which led to Bad Bunny slapping The Miz, and then Damian Priest stood in front of Bad Bunny in case Miz was going to try any funny stuff against Bad Bunny. Then we had our triple threat match, which was a good match here. Lashley dominated early. Basically, the storyline was that Morrison and Riddle could not put away Lashley on their own. So they decided to work together. However, Morrison quickly turned on Riddle as soon as Lashley was down. Morrison hit the Starship Pain to Lashley after Riddle hit a floating bro. However, Lashley still kicked out of it when Morrison went for the pin. MVP then started taunting Morrison, so Morrison grabbed MVP's clutch, and since this is an ODQ match, you had Riddle get involved here, and after Lashley put the Hurt Lock on Morrison, Riddle took the crutch, hit Lashley with it several times, knocking Lashley out of the ring, and then Riddle hit the Bro Derek, pinning John Morrison to win the United States Championship. So there you go. Lashley finally loses the title, but this was a way to protect Lashley. Lashley looked about as strong as possible in this match, did not take the fall. You had Riddle needing to use the crutch to get Lashley out of the equation. So yeah, I thought it was well executed. You got Riddle as the new U.S. champion. Morrison took the fall. It was good. It was a good match here, and you kept Lashley strong. You did not erase all of the hard work building up Lashley as this monster. You know, he was kicking out of stuff when they were double teaming him. Lashley definitely came off just fine in this match. You got the title off of him. Mission accomplished. And where was the Miz when Morrison was out there? Well, Miz was busy with other stuff, which we'll get to here in a few minutes. I know everybody's waiting for me to talk about that. But we got one more match to talk about, which was the Women's Tag Team Titles match. We had Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defending against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Before the match, Reginald approached Sasha and Bianca backstage, and he said that he was putting his finest champagne on ice for them. We had this match. Sasha and Bianca were working very well together during the match. However, you did have Shayna gain the upper hand. Sasha was able to make a comeback later on, hit a frog splash, which Shayna kicked out of. Bianca then tagged in, hit the KOD on Shayna, but Nia managed to pull Shayna out of the ring. And then later in the match, Sasha hit the Meteora to Nia. Nia kicked out of that. And that's when Reginald showed up. He distracted Sasha. Sasha managed to get the bank statement on to Nia, but Nia got to the ropes. And then Reginald took the bottle and put the bottle in the ring. Sasha got even more distracted. Stupid babyface. And Nia took advantage, hit the Samoan drop. And that was that. Still your tag team champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, which I'm fine with. I would have booked it that way, but I would not have done it this way. I would not have put Reginald in this match. You want to build heat for Sasha and Bianca. Why was Reginald involved in this? Like, to me, that just took away from building up Sasha and Bianca. Like, what purpose does it serve? Sasha looked like an idiot being the stupid baby face. I would have done it differently. I would have had miscommunication between Sasha and Bianca, leading to Sasha walking out on Bianca. Bianca tries to fight off Nia and Shayna as much as she can, kicks out of some stuff, but eventually she takes the fall, courtesy of Sasha walking out on her. That's how I would have done it. Was not a fan of Reginald's involvement. I felt it served no purpose. Father Adrian with a €2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, champion versus champion at WrestleMania. Miz versus Bad Bunny. Oh, no. Please don't say that. Oh, no. Like, I can't even. Is that where we're going here? Miz versus Bad Bunny for the WWE title? Oh, no. That sounds awful. I'm sorry. I really hope that's not what's going to happen here. Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat says, I believe they are only keeping Nia Jax around for their Be a Star thing. She seemed so out of shape during the match. It made it a terrible match. Your guess is as good as mine as far as Nia Jax goes. Somebody must like her in WWE. That's all I can say, because she seems to be getting a lot of criticism, yet she continues to get pushed. Somebody must think that there's value in Nia Jax. And in her defense, I think if she's booked properly, there is value in her. She can be like a female Andre the Giant. If you at least attempt to book her well, she might have that chance. That's not saying there's a guarantee she would be even in the stratosphere of Andre the Giant, but you don't know until you try. And she's never really been booked like a full-blown dominant monster. She's always booked kind of strong for a while, and then she becomes a comedy character. And yeah, as Maud W summed it up nicely. She's like a female Big Show. Maybe a shitty version of the Big Show. But that's what she is. She's more like Big Show than Andre. You know, the start and stop pushes and being comedy 1 minute, being serious 1 minute. And Father Adrian thinks Bad Bunny will attract people for WrestleMania. He might, but a WWE title match, I'm not so sure how I feel about that one. Just saying. All right. So now we move on to the Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship, the main event. And I don't know what happened with Alexa Bliss or The Fiend, why they were not on the show, but would have made sense, right? Let's talk about it. Before the match, we had a little tease of what was to come. We had MVP chatting with The Miz backstage, and Miz had his Money in the Bank contract. We had our WWE title match, Drew McIntyre defending against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Kofi Kingston. I liked how during Kofi's entrance, he turned his back. You know, if you remember in 2009, when Kofi made his entrance, he got jumped from behind by Edge and was taken out of the match. So Kofi is looking back this year to make sure he doesn't get sneak attacked. I liked that. Some people were disappointed, though, thinking that we would see an appearance by Ali. Ali would attack him, but nope, no Ali. We had several wrestlers staring down McIntyre as they made their entrance. Everybody very focused on winning the championship. We started off with Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy. McIntyre was next. He went after Orton for a while. Then Kofi Kingston entered. He went after Orton. And surprisingly, shortly after Kingston got into the match, he pinned Orton pretty much out of nowhere. Like, this was just very random, out of nowhere. Kingston pinned Randy Orton. And we had Orton just attack everybody except for McIntyre. He attacked Kingston and Hardy with RKOs. We have a super chat here from Daryl, who's jumping ahead a little bit here. He says with a $2.79 super chat, Miz is champion, go 2011. And Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, Miz versus Drew versus Lashley versus Priest for the WWE Championship. I'm not a fan of the multi-man matches. I'd rather we got a one-on-one match than a 4 or 5-way match for the WWE title, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, I thought for sure we were going to see Alexa Bliss or The Fiend show up, but yeah, Kofi Kingston just randomly pinned Orton. Really made no sense to me, and I don't know what purpose it served. Are we going to have Kingston versus Orton again? I thought we were getting Orton versus Fiend at WrestleMania. Like, why? Really made no sense to me whatsoever. I was expecting some kind of appearance by The Fiend or Alexa Bliss at least, but yeah, nothing. Very weird. So Orton was the first one out, and then Omos freed AJ Styles from his pod on the outside of the ring, picking up one of those plastic pod walls, the so-called plexiglass, and AJ got into the chamber through the main entrance as Orton was taken out, and he tried to pin Hardy, and he tried to pin Kingston, but was unsuccessful. And then we had Sheamus enter as the last entrant. And by the way, Adam Pearce had Omos kicked out of the match. Why Adam Pearce did nothing earlier in the show with Retribution, I have no idea. Maybe he did not show up in time for the kickoff. Adam Pearce, he's a guy who arrives late because the kickoff's not important. Who knows? So we had Sheamus enter as the last person as advertised because he won the match on Raw, where he got to be the last entrant in the chamber. Kofi Kingston did a dive from the top of the pod onto the other 4. He tried to pin everybody, but they all kicked out. And then Sheamus pinned Kingston with a bro kick. So no Kofi Mania 2 for everybody that was hoping for that. We had McIntyre counter a phenomenal forearm in midair, hitting the Claymore. But before that, I forgot to mention Sheamus. Sheamus hit a bro kick to McIntyre. However, Styles hit the phenomenal forearm on Sheamus, pinned Sheamus, and then Styles went for the forearm on McIntyre, which McIntyre countered midair, hitting the Claymore, and McIntyre picked up the victory to retain his WWE Championship, overcoming the odds in the chamber. And then after the match was over, Bobby Lashley showed up and attacked McIntyre, I guess, to blow off steam from losing the US title, I guess, figuring he needs to do something to get his WrestleMania spot. So Lashley attacked McIntyre, put the hurt lock on McIntyre, and then slammed him down. And then what everybody's been talking about, The Miz ran down, cashed in Money in the Bank, pinned McIntyre with the skull-crushing finale to become the new WWE champion here in 2021. We all thought Miz was going to fail, and he did not. At least the second time around, he did not fail. Got a super chat here from GK999. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. He says, why do fans beg for long-term storytelling? It then screams murder at every result. Is Otis more WWE Championship material than Miz? Vince McMahon needs a heel champion to beat on its Peacock debut. It will not be Reigns. I think the deal with Miz is this. Miz, for the last few years, especially this last year, has been booked like a glorified jobber. He's been mid-card at best. Him and Morrison, they lose in 2-on-1 matches to guys like Braun Strowman and other people. They haven't been booked very strongly. Morrison has been booked even worse, but Miz has basically been booked like your second or third match comedy wrestler. And all of a sudden, he's WWE champion again. But with Money in the Bank, it can happen, right? Anybody can win the WWE title at any time if they pick the right opportunity. And it's not exactly unique because Edge, of course, cashed in Money in the Bank after the Chamber match. It's been done before. The This Guy Experience sent in a $5 super chat, says, the RKO took Paige from Nash. Tired of the Fiend storyline to protect the RKO. How do I get on one of the panel videos? Been a fan for 4.9 years. Miss your call-in videos. I've considered doing another call-in video. It's just a matter of dealing with the trolls. But This Guy Experience, we'll try to get you on a panel video at some point. We haven't been doing a lot of them. Actually, this Elimination Chamber one was the first panel video we've done in a while. But I will definitely take that under consideration, and we can see about getting you on at some point. TJS sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, TJS. He says, Lashley beats The Miz for the title at Fastlane, and then Drew beats Lashley for the title at WrestleMania. Miz and John Morrison versus Bad Bunny and DP. Oh, Damian Priest. For some reason, I was thinking of a different DP, courtesy of Raw Talk. Fiend versus RKO, with The Fiend not showing up until then. I'm thinking Miz is going to be a short-term champion. I've seen comments in the chat room about Miz possibly losing on Raw. Could happen, but I could see Miz versus McIntyre at Fastlane. McIntyre regains, and then it's Lashley versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. Could end up being Miz losing on Raw, and then Lashley versus McIntyre at Fastlane, and maybe Strowman returns, and it's Strowman versus McIntyre at WrestleMania. Who knows at this point? I guess there's a lot of ways it could go. No clear direction, but I'm guessing we will get another Lashley versus McIntyre match at some point. And, I would suspect a tag match at WrestleMania. That seems like the obvious direction. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus Miz and Morrison. Tim sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Tim. Says, poor Miz made a deal with the devil. Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. Maybe it will be Lashley versus Miz, and that's what MVP was talking to Miz about. You scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Lashley gets the first title opportunity. That also could happen, maybe at Raw, maybe at Fastlane. And the boy Fernando sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, I could see Morrison turning on The Miz at Fastlane. Miz loses the WWE title and they have a match at WrestleMania. Probably not, because I'm still thinking Bad Bunny is going to be in the mix somehow. And let's be real here. Bad Bunny, it's not going to hurt WWE to have him in a match at WrestleMania. Like, if you're going to have him in a match, it's good to put him in a match where he can elevate other people in addition to getting the spotlight. And I think a good idea would be to have Bad Bunny team up with Damian Priest. Bad Bunny and Priest win, but Priest gets the rub from winning the match with Damian Priest. That's what I would do. Anything else I think is a mistake. Bad Bunny in a singles match, Bad Bunny winning the WWE title, heaven forbid, that I think would not be a good idea. The game is on 100 with a $10 super chat. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. He says, way to go, WWE, for this WTF Elimination Chamber swerve with Lashley beating up McIntyre for The Miz to cash in Money in the Bank. At least Edge did not help to get the belt from Cena to win. Ratings ploy, maybe. Miz is a joke as champion. Yeah, I do think that it's a ratings ploy. It will get people curious to tune in and see what's going to happen at WrestleMania, keep people guessing. In that case, it's fine. But yeah, Miz as WWE champion, it's pretty much a joke at this point. Nobody takes Miz seriously anymore. If this was 2017 Miz winning the title prior to that face turn, I think it would have been pretty cool for him to win the WWE title. But now, not so much. Miz has cooled off quite a bit from that 2016 period when I thought he was red hot. And I would have argued for him to possibly get one more run back then. The This Guy Experience with the $2 super chat says, Miz deserves this since that Talking Smack rant. Again, that would have been the time. That was when Miz was on fire. Now he's just a comedy wrestler. And the only purpose in him winning the title, I guess, is number one, to have this Money in the Bank storyline done, and two, keep people guessing for WrestleMania. Brian Spencer sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate it very much. He says, when they showed MVP talking to The Miz backstage, I knew what was going to happen. McIntyre will win it back, and it will be him and Lashley at WrestleMania. I too was thinking something was going to happen, but I was also thinking maybe they would do something where, like, Lashley would end up taking the Money in the Bank contract, like Miz would sell it to Lashley, although that would also make the Miz look like a jabroni, that he would give up a WrestleMania opportunity. The likelihood here is that Lashley takes out McIntyre, and then Miz gives Lashley an opportunity at the WWE title. Kim Hall sent in a $5 super chat, says, Miz has like 5 other shows going on at the same time, though. That is true. Miz, he's got his hands in a lot of different pockets. Miz is a smart man. He's a businessman. He knows how to make money and get his face all over the place. And hey, he works smarter, not harder, and he's once again the WWE champion as a result. Matt with the $2 super chat says, Drew versus Lashley versus Brock at WrestleMania for the title. Again, I think I would personally prefer a singles match, and I'm still not even sure Brock's coming back, which is why it would make sense to go with Lashley, just because Lashley has been booked better than pretty much anybody else in WWE other than Roman Reigns. Maybe even better than Reigns, because Lashley hasn't had to do a lot of heel tactics to win. Lashley's just dominating people. And thus you could say he's been the most credible heel in the company. Let's see what else we got here. Father Adrian sent in a €2 super chat, says, a priest versus a father at WrestleMania. Book it, Vince. Well, that would be a little bit silly in my opinion, but you never know with Vince if they have a character that they can name father or somehow give that person a moniker like that, they could do that. But I don't think they're going to, unless they just luck into the opportunity to bill priest versus father. Probably not going to happen though. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. He says, I think Lashley made a deal with Miz to get the first title shot. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. If I had to make a prediction on it, that seems like the obvious thing. We'll see what happens on Raw. Again, the cliffhanger. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, McIntyre versus jumping Jeff Farmer in a Punjabi prison match. For those of you that are tuning into this for the first time, Psycho Jet Black is our resident comedian. He always super chats with some funny jokes. Half of the time it's a dig at Ricochet, but he's always got something amusing to say. Thank you again for that, Psycho. And This Guy Experience sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, meant that I've been a fan for 9 years. Did anybody catch that 360 storytelling with Roman Reigns pulling an Edge and Edge coming for the save? No, I did not catch that, so I'll have to check that out later. Let's see, make sure I did not miss any super chats here. I do appreciate the super chats, everyone. I'm trying to make sure I get to all of them here before we wrap this up. Let's see. Psycho Jet Black with another $2 super chat says, Goldberg versus Bad Bunny for the 24/7 title. I'd be okay with that. I'd be okay with Goldberg just coming in and squashing Bad Bunny and winning the 24/7 title, but I don't think that's going to happen. What about Goldberg versus Matt Riddle for the United States title? I would be intrigued by that one in all seriousness. I'd like to see that, but not sure it's going to happen. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says, I was so happy when Miz won. He deserves it 110%. I'm happy for the Miz. I just wish he wasn't booked like a comedy wrestler for the past year or so. Would have made it a little bit more believable, I guess. I suppose it's believable because so much happened to McIntyre, went through the chamber match, got beat up by Lashley. Jack Gibbons sent in a $5 super chat, but no comment. Thank you for that, Jack. I do appreciate it very much. And feel free to send me a comment, but I might miss it. There's a lot of comments here I still have to get through. So bear with me, everyone. I'm working on getting the comments. Okay, Jack sent in another $5 super chat, this time with a comment. So I will go ahead and read that one off. He says, do you think it would be a good idea to not have a Money in the Bank briefcase this year? I'm fine with it. Here's what I would like. I would like Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. Forget about doing a pay-per-view. Just do a Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania. And hell, since you're doing 2 nights, do 2 of them. 1 on each night, 1 for the men, 1 for the women, 4 Raw, 4 SmackDown in each match. Bam. I would be totally fine with that. And considering that this WrestleMania might be the only show with a crowd until maybe the summer, I say go big. Do the Money in the Bank matches with fans in attendance when you can, because you might not have an opportunity, especially if Money in the Bank is in May. There's a decent chance that they're not going to have fans at that Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It might not be until SummerSlam, realistically, that we have like a full crowd of fans. We'll have to see, though. The COVID cases are dropping. More people are getting vaccinated, but you know, WWE is going to be careful, and I'm not sure how many half-capacity shows they're going to want to do. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if it was my call, I would do Money in the Bank at WrestleMania. So thank you, Jack, for that super chat. And Chris Benoit sent in a $2 super chat, says, I was hoping Big Show would show up and turn heel. As was I. I still want to see it. I say this every time somebody sends in the comment about Big Show. I want to see Big Show appear and turn heel and face. Why not at this stage of the game? You gotta embrace the legacy, as I like to say. Hamp Connor with the $2 super chat. Everybody's got their jokes now. This is our comedy portion of the recap. Hamp Connor with the $2 super chat says, I'm still all in for Jeff Harvey versus Drew McIntyre. Well, the best you're going to get is probably an episode of Monday Night Raw. Although, if Jeff Hardy comes back with no more words at WrestleMania and gets a renewed push, there might be hope for a pay-per-view match between Jeff Hardy versus Drew McIntyre. Mike Nixon sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Mike. He says, I would love to see Lashley become WWE champion. I'm all for it. McIntyre has been champion for a while. We've had McIntyre as a babyface champion for almost a full year now, minus losing to Orton for a week and then losing to Miz. I think it's time we have a heel champion other than Reigns dominate for a while. So yeah, I would like to see it. I'd love to see Lashley get his chance. WWE has been booking him so well, and I think it would be really cool to see him get the WWE title and have a serious champion heel. And you know, Reigns is doing that right now on SmackDown, but like I said, Lashley has been booked so dominantly. We haven't really seen that. When was the last time we saw a real dominant heel champion that did not have to have a sidekick interfere to win matches? You do have MVP out there, but Lashley's been dominating. He's been winning matches clean with a minimal amount of help from MVP and the Hurt Business. TJS sent in a $3 super chat. Thank you, Tyler. Says, Drew McIntyre winning the title in front of a crowd makes sense. And ultimately, I think McIntyre is going to win at WrestleMania, whether it's against Lashley or somebody else, whether McIntyre's the champ going in or challenging. I sense McIntyre is going to win at WrestleMania to have that feel-good moment that he did not get last year at WrestleMania. This will be the makeup for that. It's just a matter of, will he be champion going in or will he be challenging, and will it be against Lashley or potentially somebody else? Justin Brosnan sent in a €5 super chat. Thank you for that, Justin. He says, Chris Benoit stealing his Big Show gimmick. Yes, that's true, because Justin brought up Big Show appearing and turning heel and face at every WWE event, just living up to that reputation and going big with it. Go Big Show, right? And I'm not talking about the TNT series. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, where is Andrade, Aleister Black, and Angel Garza? WWE just doesn't have any creative ideas for them. And if you believe the rumors, Vince is apparently not high on any of them. I don't understand why Vince is so against Aleister Black. Aleister Black looks like a badass. I get Andrade to a degree because Andrade, let's be real here, doesn't cut a good promo. It's hard to understand him, which is unfortunate, but he's damn good in the ring. And that's why with a mouthpiece, Andrade can go far. Why not pair Andrade up with Charlotte? Husband and wife, boyfriend, girlfriend combo, you know, they're together. They might as well put them together on TV and see where it can go. Let's see. Father Adrian sent in a €2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, my parishioners were very generous today. Is this a gimmick, Adrian? Or are you really a father? That's what I want to know. Are you trolling all of us, or are you really a man of the cloth? That's what I want to know. And let's see here. We have Hamp Connell with a $2 super chat says, I'm honestly tired of Drew McIntyre. I get what you're saying because he's been the champion for so long, and at some point you need to change things up with him. You need to have him chase for a while, which is why I would not oppose the idea of Lashley winning the title. I still think my gut feeling is McIntyre is ending WrestleMania as champion for the feel-good moment. Although maybe WWE could do something different with Edge beating Reigns, perhaps, and that's the feel-good moment. I mean, we've seen multiple feel-good moments. We saw it 2 years ago. We saw it last year with McIntyre winning, Strowman winning. Could happen again this year with multiple feel-good moments. Or maybe WWE swerves everybody. You never know. TJS with a $3 super chat. Thank you for that, Tyler. Says, Lashley, Roman Reigns, or Drew McIntyre, who looks more like a superstar? That's a tough question to answer because I think all three of them look very much the part. I would probably go with Roman Reigns just because Roman, his promos as a heel have been pure fire. Drew has been really good, though. Lashley, he's got MVP as the mouthpiece, but in the ring, Lashley, I think, rivals the other two. But yeah, it's a really tough call. Just based off of looks, probably Roman Reigns, but it's a tough one. It's a tough one between all three of them. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Psycho. Says, Big Show versus Goldberg in a triple cage match. You know what? In all seriousness, I would be totally fine with a triple cage match in WWE. I'd love to see that concept brought in from WCW. But since it wasn't a Vince creation, if we ever see it, we would probably only see it in NXT. And they're already doing War Games, so I think it's a long shot. I still would not rule out seeing it one day. Just don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon. Anyways, that was Elimination Chamber. I think I got all of the super chats. Thank you guys so much. One thing is for sure, we're talking about it. People are intrigued about what's going to happen now. So in that sense, WWE did a good job. Overall, I'm going to give the pay-per-view a solid B. Not a great pay-per-view in my opinion, but overall, I enjoyed it. I think it's overkill with 2 chamber matches. Wasn't a big fan of how the women's tag team match was booked with Reginald's interference. But all in all, good show. I liked that it was kept short. That was definitely a positive, and I hope they keep the WrestleMania shows fairly short. You know, they can go a little bit longer for WrestleMania. I'm sure they will. But yeah, I'm hoping Fastlane goes pretty quickly, maybe 2.5 hours tops. I'm seeing a lot of B's in the chat room. Kim Hall with a B+. Terry gives it a B+. Maud W with a B. Michael Gonzalez gives it an A-. Brad with a B. Sean gives it a B. Looking like people enjoyed the show overall. Bryan gives it a B as well. Josh Mansfield, very happy, gives it an A+. Father Adrian gives it a B+, short pay-per-view. Matt Helms with a B, and Alan Cooper on Facebook gives it a B. And a reminder again, to anybody watching this on Facebook or Twitter/Periscope, please head over to youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. Click on the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you get the updates when they become available. I don't always share this stream on Facebook or Twitter, Sometimes I change it up, but it's always on YouTube. You can always see these videos on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate your viewership, the super chats, and just continuing to support NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. Thank you guys. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Be positive, but not COVID positive. And I will see you guys next time.